What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic
from number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindic. So take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Ole has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell, like, our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like, we could have, stayed really, like, there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Ole, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Kleppel now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Nice run out of here at Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league, and he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. Vicario was in there for 20 minutes. First half, didn't give up any. And so, that's a huge disparity. Sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Lansing City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
There's a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah, Blanco touched it. Did you hear me say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here, that game was so amazing. You know how many players under the age of 20 were part of it?
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of them.
Ethan Castaneda, there's been times where something that he does in the game is exposed, or mistakes and things like that. He was amazing in this game. Last week against Jinga he was, and in this game he played really well, and I think the things that Lansing City have been investing in are starting to pay off. Gomez putting heavy pressure on. And here he is. He finishes. Ole go up by 1.
And when you think about the addition of Daniel De Leon and what he means to this team, we told you that he was the assist leader last season. The goal. Outstanding effort from De Leon to create that. Really good positioning and understanding.
We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's shielding off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, Hasevic is pulling at him, just to prevent any.
McKenzie plays it in, gets it right back. Ramsey Terminini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Terminini from the circle.
And just like that, Jinga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, two teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think like this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic.
From number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. So we take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Ole has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell like our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like we could have, stayed.
Yeah.
Really like there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Ole, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Kleppel now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Nice run out of here at Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league, and he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. Lucario was in there for 20 minutes. First half, didn't give up any. And so, that's a huge disparity. Sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Lansing City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
There's a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah, Blanco touched it. Did you hear me say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here, that game was so amazing. You know how many players under the age of 20 were part of it?
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of them.
Ethan Castaneda, there's been times where something that he does in the game is exposed, or mistakes and things like that. He was amazing in this game. Last week against Jinga he was, and in this game he played really well, and I think the things that Lansing City have been investing in are starting to pay off. Gomez putting heavy pressure on. And here he is. He finishes. Ole go up by 1.
And when you think about the addition of Daniel De Leon and what he means to this team, we told you that he was the assist leader last season. The goal, outstanding effort from De Leon to create that, really good positioning and understanding.
We're ticking down to the final moments. Lansing City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's shielding off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, I mean, Hasevic is pulling at him, just prevent any.
Mackenzie plays it in, gets it right back to Ramsey Terminini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Terminini from the circle.
And just like that, Jenga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, two teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop-off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think, like, this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic.
From number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. We take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Ole has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell, like, our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like, we could have, stayed really, like, there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Ole, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Couple now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Nice run out of here at Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league. And he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. Vicario was in there for 20 minutes. First half, didn't give up any. And so, like, that's a huge disparity. Sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Lansing City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
It was a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Blanco
wow.
touched it.
Great
Did you hear me
effort.
say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here, that game was so amazing. You know how many players under the age of 20 were part of it?
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of them.
Ethan Castaneda, there's been times where something that he does in the game is exposed, or mistakes and things like that. He was amazing in this game. Last week against Jinga he was, and in this game he played really well, and I think the things that Lansing City have been investing in are starting to pay off. Gomez putting heavy pressure on. And here he is. He finishes. Olay go up by 1.
And when you think about the addition of Daniel De Leon and what he means to this team, we told you that he was the assist leader last season. The goal, outstanding effort from De Leon to create that, really good positioning and understanding.
We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's shielding off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, I mean, Hasevic is pulling at him, just to prevent any.
McKenzie plays it in, gets it right back to Ramsey Terminini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Terminini from the circle.
And just like that, Jinga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, 2 teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop-off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think like this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic.
From number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. So take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Olay has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell like our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like we could have, stayed.
Yeah.
Really like there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Olay, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Kleppel now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kluppel finds a side net and gives Lansing.
Nice run out of here at Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league, and he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. Lucario was in there for 20 minutes. First half, didn't give up any. And so, that's a huge disparity. Sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Lansing City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
There's a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah, Blanco touched it. Did you hear me say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here, that game was so amazing. You know how many players under the age of 20 were part of it?
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of them.
Ethan Castaneda, there's been times where something that he does in the game is exposed, or mistakes and things like that. He was amazing in this game. Last week against Jinga he was, and in this game he played really well, and I think the things that Lansing City have been investing in are starting to pay off. Gomez putting heavy pressure on. And here he is. He finishes. Ole go up by 1.
And when you think about the addition of Daniel De Leon and what he means to this team, we told you that he was the assist leader last season. The goal. Outstanding effort from De Leon to create that. Really good positioning and understanding.
We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's shielding off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, Hasevic is pulling at him, just to prevent any.
McKenzie plays it in, gets it right back. Ramsey Terminini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Terminini from the circle.
And just like that, Jinga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, 2 teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop-off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
and there were 3 red cards in that game.
3 red cards. You could see it on their faces, like they would hit the post again, and they'd be like, "What is happening?"
And they only gave up 4 goals?
But it wasn't competitive.
In 40 minutes?
It wasn't competitive.
4 goals!
A sign that a fan has made, a fan of Capital Futsal made it. Chicago House is grabbing the sign, holding it up, and they're passing it around.
The ball sticks to his feet. Like, I don't think that you should have seen him at practice last night. He was just toying with us. I ain't gonna lie.
What level of crazy do you need to be a goalkeeper in futsal?
11. 11. No one woke up one day and said, I want to be a keeper today. I didn't want to be a goalie.
Welcome, everyone, to the third half here on this amazing Thursday night, January 8th, 2026, getting ready for Week 10 in the FCS, right about the midway point of the year. So it's kind of a good time to check in, see where the standings are at, see where the teams are at, and what the outlook is. We're going to be getting into that a little bit later. We've got a full weekend of games to chat about that just happened. 2 doubleheaders, men's and women's, Olay and Shoreline, Chicago, and Lansing. And then also a full weekend of 3 games this Saturday to chat about as well. And to join me for the very first time on the podcast, tried to get him on last year when we started this and wasn't able to make it happen. But I'm glad that he can make it happen today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the man who has a phone that likes to yell at just the right time. Probably didn't even hear it on there. Coach Matt Al-Ashari of Lansing City. Matt, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you as a part of this for the viewers tonight. If you have any questions for Coach Matt Al-Ashari, be sure to put them in the chat, and we might be able to get to some of those. So the very first place I want to start, Matt, is first of all, it's awesome that I've had just a little bit of background. I've had the pleasure of knowing Matt for quite a long time now. So it's really cool to have him up here and to kind of be involved in the FCS, in different roles is really cool. So glad to have you on the show. I want to start with how you got involved in futsal because I think if I were to be able to go back to some of the early days when we knew each other, and I was like, hey, young Matt, are you going to be a futsal coach one day? Your answer would have probably been
no. No. What is futsal?
What is futsal? So tell us a little bit about how you got involved and to now be head coach of Lansing City for the second year.
Yeah, so my background is I'm a software developer. And a few years ago, we were trying to do some analytics stuff, and Jeremy asked if I wanted to help we were doing different monitoring, players' health, things like that, and thought maybe we could take an analytics angle on that. And so I just started showing up, and I just helped. I was basically not even a glorified equipment manager, and then stuck around, really liked the sport, really enjoyed getting to know the players, getting to understand the game. I really like tactics, things like that. I've learned a lot from Jeremy, and it's been an absolute blast. So I like being there to be able to help the players in any way I can.
That's awesome, and not only on the men's side, but also a lot of youth coaching as well, correct?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your journey in youth coaching.
Yeah, so helped out with youth last year. Had a great time. I love coaching kids. I have a history of coaching youth, but not in futsal in the past. And then this year we kicked off FCS Futures, which we're really excited about, getting an opportunity for the kids to be able to play on full-size courts, full-length games. We've got some of the other FCS teams in the league playing, Olay, Imperial, Shoreline, to name a couple. So we're really excited about that. The kids are excited. We had the first match right here before Christmas, and we have more coming up. So it's just a blast getting to see the kids get to play really real futsal and getting to experience that at such a young age, not having to wait until they are playing in the FCS men's or women's league to be able to experience that.
That's awesome. Yeah, tell us a little bit about from the future side, because I know you have some involvement just like in the league from, just like from a league standpoint. Tell us about what's to come for FCS Futures this year and what people can get excited for.
Yeah, so one of the things that's really cool, and one of the things we really wanted to have for the players, is we wanted to have them have the full experience, not even beyond just playing on the correct size court, in a way that can really help them grow in the game, grow FCS ultimately over in the future, 10 years down the road. You look at Lansing City, you have Drew Barney, Jack Fisher. We have some other younger players that all came up through the academy, and now they're performing at a high level. So this is something that we see for Lansing City in the future. We could see, for other teams, Detroit Imperial for one. Olay has some players that will help the FCS ultimately grow as well, in a talent level, because the kids are able to play at that level. But then also, the opportunity for the kids to play with FCS Live. We had FCS Live at the first game, and the kids were talking about how their grandparents in Texas and Tennessee were able to watch the game, family members that couldn't come. And then they were able to watch the game back with their families, so they can kind of see how they're doing. Their families can learn. The parents, can help them see, hey, you can do this, and then even more so, help, the kids through some of the challenges that come with sports. Maybe they didn't play as well as they wanted to. How do you handle a loss? How do you handle, you thought you deserved more playing time than you got. How do you handle, a number of different things. So it builds the family relationship inside the sport. So we're really excited about that. We think that there's a lot of opportunity for the kids to grow in the sport, and then just to involve families as well.
That is super exciting. It's really cool to hear about how the kids enjoyed the FCS Live coverage of those games and the grandparents being able to watch. It's really cool. Yeah. We are planning to stream more FCS Futures games. They do go to the website and then are uploaded to YouTube after that. So keep your eye out for that. I think the next ones are going to be the end of January. January 31st, if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be a few Futures games. The goal is to get every team in every division at least one FCS Live game in the regular season, and then we'll be doing the finals for sure for all the youth. Right now, I don't know if a schedule's been released, and there might be some tweaks, but right now, just like a sneak peek, it's a finals day here at the arena. 4 youth finals, women's final, men's final on the same day. So, oh my goodness, it's like a fire hose of FCS finals on that day. So could be some changes to that, but that's how it's set up right now. So look forward to the end of March when the finals come around. That's really amazing. I think the futures is something that we'll talk more and more about as we see more games on FCS Live, and it's an amazing opportunity to kind of put some spotlight back on the kids and the families that are going to be the future of FCS. But also, you talk about how you handle things. I think it's interesting that kids at a younger age have an opportunity for some of the exposure of FCS Live, like how that magnifies when it's kind of like you can like watch it again. Yeah. And so it's like it's challenging. It's like it can be challenging, it can be really exciting, but I think it's interesting that maybe you can share your take on this, but I feel like maybe it's a really good thing because it can kind of help relieve, like maybe later on if you've never had that, and all of a sudden your games are, every game is being broadcast in magnifying glass. It's like kind of a shock, and you have to handle it as a player. But if you can like handle that in small moments, with, as you're growing up with your parents and with your family and with your coach, then like when you get to the point where, it's the FCS, like, then you have had some experience like on how to deal with that.
Yeah, I think that's something I don't know if I necessarily thought about that aspect before the first game, but when the kids were running out of the tunnel with the lights and stuff, and one kid did a cartwheel, it was amazing.
He did. I missed it.
He did. That's amazing. It's amazing.
I hope we got it on the camera.
But it's like it kind of is an opportunity to work through, like you said, like all that pressure, what do people think about me? What everybody's watching. Oh my gosh, I'm going to what if I make a mistake? You can kind of work through all that and realize that all that stuff, it isn't as big of a deal as you think it is in your head.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't have to wait until you're 22, 23, 24 to learn those things.
Yeah.
You can learn it when you're 10.
Yeah.
I mean, what a gift that we can give these players.
Well, and that kind of leads me into something that I think you might have an interesting opinion about, having coaching experience in other areas and now in futsal. Just how much futsal is, to me, it's one of the most challenging sports as like a youth to play, in terms of everything is exposed. You know what I mean? Like you have to be brave. Like you can't hide. You have to, you know what I mean? And these are things that I think, are amazing for kids to learn as they're growing up. Can you speak into that at all?
Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, everything, the big thing that I like to point out is you deal with pressure 100% of the time. There is not a time that you don't play under pressure unless you're not being a good teammate.
Wow.
And so immediately it exposes anywhere that you're afraid, that you're scared, that you might make a mistake, so you'd rather your teammate have the ball and then they can handle the pressure.
And then they can make a mistake.
And it's like, I love that though, because as an adult, you deal with different pressure in life. And so it's like, futsal is very similar.
Yeah.
And the kids get to experience that in a way that, again, you can't hide.
Yeah.
And they learn that it's okay that there are things they're not good at. And it's not an excuse to not go get better.
Yeah.
But, you know that, we just got beat. I remember last year we went to a tournament and we got beat like 25-2 in one of the games. And it's like, well, now you know where you're at.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do? Wow. That is tough. For those that's just joining, Matt Al-Ashari, coach of Lansing City, jumping on the show right now, talking a little bit about FCS futures and the youth programs that are coming up and what's exciting there. In a moment, we're going to transition to these games that we just saw this past weekend, including one that Lansing City played in and really kind of was a shocking loss, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But to wrap up this kind of discussion on the futures, if someone is out there like, maybe they've heard of FCS futures, maybe they're not exactly sure what's it about. What would you say to kind of be like, hey, this is kind of what marks FCS futures in like a simple way? So we believe that kids should get an opportunity in Michigan or the Midwest, and hopefully someday the United States, to play on full-size courts with full FIFA rules, and that's what we're doing. Yeah.
We started a league that kids are able to do that. And that is the core foundation of the whole thing, is that the kids get an opportunity to play real futsal.
That's amazing. And what a fun time it is to watch them. And some of the games will be on FCS Live on our website, so you can check that out. Let's take a look, shifting gears now to this past weekend. So we had a few games, 2 doubleheaders. We'll start with the Olay and Shoreline side. So the women, this one was not very close. It's tough. So Olay has some talented players. I wasn't able to watch this whole game, but I went back and was able to see some of it. They had some good goals moving the ball. They had some times where they were playing up to the pivot spot and laying it off, and it looked pretty good. The thing that was like, to me, that kind of marked this game, and going back to the last time that Shoreline played, which was against Chicago House, is it kind of feels like they are a kind of a step behind, and it's not quite there yet, which, when you look at the context of it, is like Olay they have experience in women's futsal area. They've had a couple players that got called up to the U.S. national team, and Shoreline, this is mostly brand new. I haven't been able to hear, how many of these, girls have played with each other, or what other, I'm sure they have experience outside of this team, but Shoreline itself is new to the FCS and new to futsal. So, it's not, even though it was pretty one-sided, it's not something that is too surprising, but it is something that's like, obviously like you were mentioning earlier, like you find out kind of where you're at and you say, okay, like we have a decision to make now. What are we going to do about it? And how are we going to try to, improve, and how are we going to, what does success look like for us in that regard? So, one thing I did want to mention is about that game, there were some things that, like the situation I'm thinking of is there was a corner that Ole was taking. Shoreline was defending it, and the Shoreline was playing man off the corner, which was really odd to me because I hadn't seen that before. And Ole ended up basically their pivot just kind of posted up kind of in the middle because they're playing man, so everyone else left. The pivot posts up in the middle, gets the ball, turns, and scores. And to me, it's like moments like that I think there's a difference between, okay, we're kind of like, maybe we're a step behind. We have some things to work on. And something like that, it's like shows that there's something missing probably from like a coaching standpoint. Like I think that's a play, maybe they weren't, that's not how they were taught. Maybe that's just how they got into. But a play like that, it's like, okay, clearly there's something going on here that it goes deeper than just kind of what is being shown at face value because, a play like this is happening where we're playing man off a corner and it's an easy goal. This is two of the teams in the women's division. There was another women's game as well, and we'll pop that one up since we're kind of talking about the four teams. This one I expected to be closer than it was, and I know you didn't get a chance to actually go to Chicago for the games this past weekend. But it kind of makes me wonder in relation to the one we were just talking about, Chicago House and Ole, with the game of Lansing and Ole being close, and then Chicago really outpacing Lansing. I mean, that's kind of what I saw. Is it seemed like Lansing was not comfortable on the ball. It seemed like Lansing was not playing at the speed that Chicago House was. But I was surprised to the extent because it seemed like Lansing was competitive against Ole in the first one. Did you see the first women's?
Yeah.
Lansing and Ole?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that one, it seemed like something was maybe lost. Like it didn't seem like the same Lansing intensity that we saw in this one.
Yeah, it surprised me too. I expected the Ole Lansing City game, women's game, in November was very competitive.
Yeah. I think it was tied 3-3 until half, and then I think it was 6-3 at the end. But
I think it was competitive all the way through. It wasn't the Chicago House Lansing game didn't feel the same way.
No, it didn't.
It felt like just watching the game, what it felt like, I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but it felt like Chicago House was on Lansing City's side like most of the game. They controlled that game.
Yeah.
And the score showed that, and that did surprise me quite a bit. But, Chicago is a good team. They dismantled Shoreline, for lack of a better word. So that was a game you kind of are like, okay, well, how good is Chicago House? How bad is Shoreline?
Yeah.
Those are kind of always the questions you have when there's only one game to look at.
Yeah.
So we'll see as the season goes on, how much does traveling affect, how much, but I mean, they whooped us.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying, it's like, okay, you got to take a look in the mirror and go, okay, this is what happened.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the Chicago House players. Like, I think that is, to me, that's probably the biggest story for the women's games this past weekend is, okay, the Chicago House players, like they were good against Shoreline, right? But we're seeing them against Lansing, and it's like, okay, like this makes me very excited for when this team plays Ole, which is actually not going to be until it's like almost 2 months away. It's like end of February before we see them. But it's like, okay, these like the talent on the Chicago House women's team has been great, like in these two matches, and that to me, I think that was probably the biggest story in the women's division this weekend was the talent on that team. It was like, it wasn't completely like when they were making subs, it was like you didn't see like a clear disparity between like first line and second line or third line. It was like people were coming on and they're playing, they're receiving the ball to the sole of their foot, they're attacking the ball. They're not just like I don't know what it's called. Basically, it's like when you in futsal, when you receive the ball, it's like, do you do something positive or do you like do something neutral, which is negative, basically.
Yep.
So it's like they're doing positive things with the ball, like right when they're getting it. And they had a couple players. Mackenzie Rogers had a couple goals. And Magana, I think, maybe got on the stat sheet. Yuridy Hernandez. And these are some players that we're starting to see emerge. And to me, I think that's really exciting because it's similar to last year in the FCS when, kind of the start of the broadcast era. It's like you get to see something new start to develop. And it's like that's what we're seeing right before our eyes with the women's division is like a lot of unknowns. And we get to see it develop, and one of the most exciting things to me is a talented Chicago House team. I'm circling. I think it's February 22nd, maybe, when they play Ole for the first time. But I'm circling that game, to watch, because I think it's probably going to be exciting when those two teams play.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the men's side. First, we'll talk about the Ole and Shoreline. This was another surprise. I feel like this weekend was kind of full of surprises, of things, at least in my opinion, of what I thought what was going to happen. I didn't really think this game would probably be close, but it was close, and it was actually near the end. I think maybe like 5 minutes ago, it's tied 2-2. The game that I was calling had just ended. We, go over and we're watching it, and we're like, wow, it's so close. And Villa Gomez has this crazy free kick. I don't know if you saw it, but it was like, he passed it to De Leon, got it back, and just upper 90 rocket. It was just a great, really great placement, and it was like barely had any chance for Henschel to make a save. But yeah, tell me your thoughts on this one. Kind of a, from my perspective, I was surprised by it being so close. What did you think?
Yeah, this was a game that I was kind of really looking forward to because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like Shoreline, new to the league but hadn't lost yet.
Yeah.
But, this was their first real challenge based on where the standings sit right now. So I was kind of like, they played Midwest.
They played
tied
Midwest
6-6.
Yeah.
But that's first game. Then they played Innovation and
they played Chicago
House twice. Neither of those games were close.
Well, the second one, they came
closer.
back.
Oh, that's right. It was 10-9 or 11-10. It was close.
Came back at the end. But like last week, just to talk to your point, when Alex Menace came on the show, Shoreline, he said, like, we've had some games where, like, we're going up by a few goals and we kind of take the foot off the gas, And so his perspective was like, hey, this is a game, like, we know we're not going to take our foot off the gas.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, what happens when they don't take their foot off the gas?
Yeah, and it was exciting. I mean, I wanted to see Ole hasn't lost in FCS. And it's like, we played them in November, and it was very competitive, very close, went down to the wire.
Yeah.
Now Shoreline takes them down to the wire, so it's like, don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season. All in all, I'm not surprised the way the game ended, with it being close, and then Ole, scored a couple at the end. They did that a couple times over the summer. They had a couple games. One was Chicago House and one was Midwest, where they were either down or very close right at the end, and they scored a couple goals to win.
Yeah.
But it's like, what's going to happen? Is there a point where that's not going to happen for them?
Yeah.
Like before, last season, their games, most of them were not that close. We played them close once at the end of the year, 4-3.
They drew the first game of the season. That's the thing that's interesting is their very first game in the FCS, they draw with Midwest.
Yeah.
And then win every other game after that.
And now they play Ole, and they lose. So it's like, well, what's Shoreline going to do?
Yeah. Well, Ole drew with Midwest last year. Their very first game in the FCS.
I didn't realize that.
That was their only
So they were undefeated, but they hadn't won every game. Okay.
Yeah, that's the only game that they have not won. And it was their very first game. And it was a 6-6 draw with Midwest. So
it's the same story.
It's the same exact scoreline.
So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see, how does Shoreline bounce back, first loss of the year, how do you handle that? So, it's an exciting game. This is what we want. This is what I want as a coach. It's like you don't want massive blocks. You want good futsal.
Yeah.
And so this is exciting. I like games like this. This is like, this is sweet.
We have in the chat, Luke brought the clip out of the Gabe Villagomez free kick to go ahead. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. If I'm not mistaken, I put on here Villagomez had a hat trick. I'm pretty sure he did. I didn't double check that, so hopefully it was right. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure I heard Chris Fernandez, amazing commentator on that game, say that in the match. Ole versus Shoreline is challenging the Ole Midwest rivalry. Here's the thing that's interesting about potential rivalry between these two teams. So I'm sure most people watching are familiar, but if you're not, maybe you're not in the Grand Rapids, maybe you haven't heard or not in the Grand Rapids area. If you're kind of separate from either Grand Rapids or these two teams and what's going on, the players of Shoreline and the players of Ole, and actually I think some players maybe from Midwest too, they compete in other soccer-related things in Grand Rapids. And I believe Alex Mendez, when he was on the show, maybe Cesar Elia was one that said it, but I believe the players of Shoreline City, Alex Mendez, Chris Mendez, Donny Mendez, I believe they have kind of been like at the top of some of those leagues and haven't lost in like their championship for a while. So, and I think there was some talk between some of these players of like older brother, younger brother, kind of just like in terms of like age, not like in terms of like disrespect, but just like a little bit older players, younger players. So the reason I bring that up is because I felt like Ole looked timid in the first half. And it could have been, I could have just been misreading it because it could have been like both teams were playing pretty defensive in the first half. And it might have just been kind of like both teams are just kind of like, okay, who's going to kind of strike first? Like we're just kind of playing pretty defensive. And in the second half, Ole looked, they were controlling more of the game and had more chances. But I almost feel like the confidence and belief that usually comes with Ole of like, we believe we're the best and we're going to go show it. It was like they kind of backed away a little bit because of some of that history. I wonder. I don't know. They totally could just be totally wrong, but it's how it felt. And also, Coach Fabian Rodriguez was not there. So, and there's no disrespect to, I think it was the Esquivel brothers, Lito and Sammy, who filled in, and obviously no disrespect to them. But having Fabian there, I mean, I think is a huge difference. I think he adds so much. And I wonder if, it would have been as close if Fabian's there. I really do. I think I just think he is a factor that adds to the game for sure. Arguably one of the best coaches in the FCS. And maybe some of that like early goings like seemed like Ole they just didn't look quite the same as in pace. That was just kind of what I thought, and maybe it's totally not it. Maybe they were just both kind of jostling. But it seemed like I was waiting when I went back to watch it. I was waiting for Ole to like go. Like they usually just like they go. Yeah. Like they're going. And I just kept like waiting for it, and it just never really came. Shoreline had some good defensive plays that they took away. Ole is really good at taking advantage of mistakes and scoring at the back post, beating the player, getting 2v1, scoring at the back post, and Shoreline did well, kind of sniffing out some of those plays and denying them. But that was like interesting. In the second half, I felt like Ole looked more like who I thought they, what I've seen, and they had more pressure. But goalkeeper Aiden Hanchett of Shoreline City, he made some really good saves in this game. I don't know if you caught that, but it was like he was keeping, I think in some cases he was keeping the scoreline closer than what it would have been if he hadn't been playing well. So Ole survive. They win 4-2, another 2-goal victory. That was how much they beat you guys by. And they stay undefeated not only this year, but in their entirety of the FCS play. Let's go on to your guys' men's side facing Chicago House, dropping it 4-6. Talk about Chicago House just for a second, and then I'll just kind of point it to you for talking about how you guys went. Ishmael Gomez was one of the players that I felt like really stepped up for Chicago House in this game. There was like three things that I felt like were very clear in this game to me. One was there was 4 new players for Chicago House that we hadn't seen before, completely new rostered for this, first time they're playing is this game, and they helped the team. And one of the things that helped him and this was number 2, is there's been some bad defensive errors that Chicago has made this year. And that's kind of one of the reasons why kind of all year I've been saying I feel like there's more to Chicago House than what we're seeing. Like they're 0-5 right now. This was last week. I'm like they're 0-5 right now, but like I keep on feeling like there's more to them and there's potential that they have. And because they've shown some moments on offense. So in this game, I think they solidified some of the defensive mistakes up, and they didn't really give any goals away, which was very helpful to them. And then Ishmael Gomez was the third thing. It just kind of seemed like, particularly, I mean, he probably played like 90% of the match, maybe 80 to 85%. But he, in some ways, it kind of felt like he was just willing the team like to work harder, to go and get their first W. And I think I just saw in the chat. Oh yeah, so talking about Rafa, I believe he's hurt is what I was told. And I'm excited for him to come back because he, in the summer, you guys had a chance to play them. I mean, to me, he was clearly like looking like their best player.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, saying are we making Rafa out to be a big, I mean, the kid is amazing. Like, I'll say that any day of the week. He came and trained in Lansing a little bit last summer. He can play. Him not playing and then beating us, I think you don't want to take that away from a kid. I mean, that's you go, oh well, they don't need. It's like, well, no, you can't. It doesn't say anything about Rafa. It only says things about the players that played, and they played well.
Yeah.
To say, I think that's I don't have any allies. Like, Rafa's going to be back, and he's going to add a ton of value to that team. Obviously they brought some new players in. They played well. They got that's a huge win for House.
Yeah.
It helps them. Jostle for a playoff spot later on when tiebreakers come into play. It's a big win for them, on our side. I hate that we lost. I hate that we lost so much.
Yeah.
They wore us down. There was a moment. I think there were a couple minutes left. I think we were down 5-3. I think that was the score. We scored, and it got close. And then, like, within 30 seconds, we gave up a goal. And it's like, what do you do? And this is something Chicago struggled with. They give up goals. When you give up easy goals, it doesn't really matter how good you play. So I think we kind of got worn down in that game. Like you said, they had some new players. They beat us. Big win for them. It's one that I would have liked to have. I think this weekend's game for us, upcoming, and I know we're going to talk about this later, is, from a standings perspective, probably a more impactful game. But that was one that I wanted to win.
Yeah.
They're all games I want to win. But that one, we went there. I thought we were going to win. And those ones are frustrating.
Yeah, sure. So that you mentioned what you guys have coming up. Chicago House also has a game coming up this weekend that I think is a big one for them. And I was we'll actually talk about this later, but looking to the return of Rafael Hernandez, which I think it won't be this weekend. I think it'll be a couple weeks still. But if the promise that they showed in this game, cleaning up some of those things, new players added, who knows how long these new players have been training for. The game that's coming up this weekend, I think, will be a big test, and we'll talk more about why right out on the other side of the ad break, including all the other games for this weekend. So don't go anywhere.
The attack.
Kleppel now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Carlisle turning his back trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Committing a crime so you can try to escape from prison. Bad idea. Going to the pod escape room to play an escape game with your friends. Great idea. Test your skill as an astronaut in outer space. Find Santa in Save Christmas. Or take a vacation to an abandoned island. Just don't get stuck there. The Pod Escape Room. Learn more at thepodlansing.com.
Nice run out of here at Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league. And he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. Vicario was in there for 20 minutes. First half, didn't give up any. And so, that's a huge disparity.
You're watching the Futsal Champions Series on FCS Live.
Sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Lansing City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
It was a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah, Blanco touched it. Did you hear me say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Third Half podcast. I'm Jared Kleppel. Joining us tonight from Lansing City, Coach Matt Al-Ashari. If you missed the first portion, rewind and take a look. He talked about his experience getting into the game, coaching, and his involvement with youth futsal, not only with Lansing but also FCS Futures, and some exciting things to come for that. We'll be streaming more FCS Futures games as the year goes on. And also, we will be having, in that last portion, we talked about the games that had just happened, the 2 doubleheaders of this past week in Olay and Shoreline, both men's and women's. So now it's time to turn our attention to what is happening this weekend. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. The first one, it's a triple header this weekend, so lots of great futsal for you guys to watch on FCS Live here on the YouTube channel. First one is Olay hosting Innovation City. It is their 4th straight home match. Olay have had a lot of home games right now, and this one is, Innovation has struggled throughout the year, and Olay has not. It's tough to talk about when it comes to the competition of the game, what to expect in this one, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, you have Akron, who's new, who has not played well, who hasn't won a game yet, going up against Olay, who has the experience, and, on paper, it's not competitive.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Number one, I think for innovation, this is like, I think for any club, you want to play the best. Like, you don't want to just be like, hey, let's just kind of, like you want to have your opportunity to go and play the best. And right now, that's what Olay is. But also, as you mentioned, innovation being new, it's like this is like what they're doing is very difficult. Like it can be easy to come up and be like, oh, like they're not playing good and they're whatever. But it's like they're starting something from scratch. I've had a chance to talk with Brandon Bolish, the owner of Innovation, and it's like, he's awesome. They're doing a great job. It's hard to do something like this, and the fact that they are, they're continuing to show up. Like in some ways, I feel like they are fighting for futsal in Akron, like just being a club and operating in the FCS and going out and playing games. Regardless of what the scoreline is, it's like they're fighting for futsal in Akron, and they're fighting for like what's to come for futsal in Akron and for innovation. And regardless of the scoreline, like that's like a really, really important thing for them.
Yeah, I think you raise an interesting point that it's like it's for them, it's not just about winning futsal games.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to, no one has to come on here and be like, oh, they're terrible, all this. Because it's like, maybe they're not. Maybe they just are new. Maybe they, who knows? Maybe, but their fight, you're right, isn't necessarily to go into Olay and, maybe we're going to win 10-0, But it might be to make a statement like, hey, yeah, we're here to play.
Yeah.
Like we're, if they get to half, maybe they're up 1-0 at halftime. Who knows?
Yeah.
Why not? Do I think that's going to happen? No. But you play the game for a reason. There's a reason you play. There's a reason you go there to get on the court, But like you said, it's bigger than just like one game, one season. Long term is like, is there going to be opportunities in Akron for people to play? And innovation says yes.
Right.
So it's like that's amazing.
Yeah. And it's like every time they're stepping on the court and they're making the journeys. I mean, they're one of the teams that has the longest travels.
Yeah.
And it's like every time they do that, they're making that stance continually of like we want futsal here. We want it for people. We want it for the players. We want to see it. And I think there has been futsal in that area in the past as well. So that's kind of like for me. It's like everyone that has watched the games has seen what the results have been and knows what probably to expect. But to me, I think that's like. I don't want to miss that this is like an important thing that they're doing. And for Olay, it's like you obviously can't just be like, oh, this is a gimme game. Like you have to come out, respect your opponent, and you have to play, and take control of the game and take care of business. And it's possible that this game gives them opportunities to try new things, new rotations, new whatever it might be. But that's going to be Saturday at 5. Olay hosting Innovation City for those two teams' first matchup ever in the FCS. At 8 p.m., we have a doubleheader. The first one is the one that you guys are involved with. And this is interesting for people that aren't aware. I believe this is the oldest rivalry in the FCS because Lansing City and Detroit Imperial, who came from Midwest, a lot of the core players used to play for Midwest, and then they created Detroit Imperial 2 or 3 years ago. Those two teams have been playing in the FCS pretty much from the beginning. And it reminds me of, I don't know if you were involved with Lansing City at the time, but it reminds me of in 2022-23, there was this crazy championship game between Lansing and Midwest. And there was like multiple goals scored in the final moments of regulation, and then overtime happened, and there was like goals again near the end by both teams to make it to PKs. And Josh Pierce, who we haven't seen in the regular season much, but we saw him last year for Olay, but he steps up and he shuts the door on, and Lansing City win on PKs in that final. And that's like, just to give you a piece, like that was 2023-2022 season. So like this is the first time these two teams are meeting this year. And not only is it an old rivalry, an old like history in the FCS, but it's pretty big game, in test for both sides. So tell me a little bit about you guys coming into this game, what it means for you guys, and what your outlook is.
Yeah, I mean, in one sense, you have okay, this is a game, third versus fourth in the standings. We have the same number of points. It matters for playoffs implications. But on the other hand, it's like you're always like, okay, well, what do we need to work on? Who needs to improve in what area? How do we help our players, continue to, what are their challenges? How do we encourage them to face those challenges? How do we, manage, a different Detroit Imperial team? They're different this year than they've been in the past few years. They brought in some new players. The attitude of the team seems like it's changed a little bit. We're not playing them on a tiny court that,
is a different game.
It's a different game. It's like it's exciting. I'm excited for it. It's like I want to play them.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
That's awesome.
It's like I get a chance to work a little bit with Pierce on FCS Futures, and it's like I want to go beat him. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be, intense. It always is when we play Imperial. But I'd like to think that it's going to be a game that will be very competitive. They don't want to lose. It's their home court. It's their first year where they're playing now, and I want to go in and beat them.
Yeah.
And I think we have a good chance to do that.
Yeah, for Detroit Imperial, I think you talk about some of the new players they've added and how they look different. I've always been a huge fan of Emerson Mena. I feel like he's the best goalkeeper in the league. He's still really good. I think Davide DePoce and Abdullah Saleh in the last couple of matches, I feel like they're kind of clicking in ways that are new and exciting. Not that they weren't doing well before, but I just feel like I'm seeing something from them that it's like they're clicking. You can see them moving together, and I think that's amazing. Edward Murillo has been a player that I've had my eye on, as well as Peyton Trask. I feel like he's a guy that hasn't got a lot of screen time or name time on the screen, but I think he's a player that works hard and could continue to have more and more impact for them. And here's what I think the test is for Detroit is they have played 4 games. They're 3-1, but they've only played 2 teams. And those 2 teams, one of them is Innovation, who's 0-5, and the other one is Jinga, who's middle of the table at 3-3. And they split with Jinga. So this is the first time they're playing a team that is right now above 500. And they've had a long break. They had I think it was a little over a month break. This is kind of really where the way their schedule went, it really felt like this was first part was kind of a setup, and this is where their season is okay, here we go, because they have, they play you guys, they're playing, Midwest, they're playing Olay, they're playing, Shoreline, they're playing Chicago, so they're starting to play all the rest of the teams and teams that have positive records. So to me, that's the big test. It's okay, we've seen them against Innovation twice, we've seen them against Jinga. What do they do against a team that has shown to be better than those teams? And for you guys, the test for me is, and you might have an answer to this. I don't know, but to me, it's about which team shows up, because we've had 2 away matches for Lansing City, and there's been who actually, not who's going to show up, but who actually is traveling, because that has made a difference. To me, in the most previous game against Chicago, I felt like you guys looked a lot like you did last year. I think because of the personnel you had to chose to play a lot through Jeremy. He's taken a lot of shots, and it's sometimes those shots are blocked and you get countered and you don't break through. And that was kind of what happened. But if you guys are coming out with how you played against Olay or Midwest, I think Detroit's in trouble, personally. So
yeah.
Do you know about any roster stuff?
I know.
He knows. We'll find out later.
Yeah, no, I think that, I don't like the excuse of, we didn't have our whole team.
Right.
It's your team is who is there.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
that's true.
I won't use that.
And every team faces it. It's not like it's unique.
Yeah. It's
team.
we're just no. Yeah. It's no. This is our team.
Yeah.
And if we lost, if you kicked our butts, you kicked our butts.
Yeah.
It's this was who Lansing City was on Saturday. But also this is who Lansing City is going to be this Saturday.
Yeah.
And, I think that you brought up a good point. Emerson's a phenomenal goalie. He is, a piece of that team that, swings games.
Yeah.
And so
I think he did last year when you guys played him.
Yeah,
I think he was a big difference at Canton Sala.
Yeah, when we went to Sala, it was to make the playoffs. And, he blocked, I don't remember what this now, 30 shots. And, Jeremy is an extremely dominant futsal player. But sometimes it's like some of the younger guys, it's like, hey, guys, you're on the court too. And that is the challenge. It's always the challenge is how do players who play with Jeremy, like it's a unique thing that not a lot of people go through of like, how do you go, okay, I have to do something too.
Yeah.
And that's the fight. It's like, Jeremy's amazing. Why am I here? I'm just watching. And it's like, no, get out there and play, And so it's like, that's a big question. But, if you have to defend more than one player, it gets a lot harder.
Yeah.
And so I would expect, that's something that we've seen this year with our younger guys is some of them have, stepped up tremendously from last year. Definitely there's still some age stuff. So definitely there's still some maturity issues. Some of those, did you forget to play defense there? But overall, we're seeing much more consistent play. You saw that against Midwest. You saw that in the Olay game. You saw these people who used to be kids aren't so much kids on the court anymore, and they're realizing it.
Yeah.
And that is a scary thing for other teams because it's like the talent is there. I mean, Jack Fisher, Drew Barney, those kids can play. They can play. And so when they start to go, it's like, well, now what do you do? Do you defend Jeremy? Do you double team? Do you triple team? Well, what do you do about the backside? What do you do about, all of a sudden it's like your problems go from, okay, how do we stop one person to how do we stop a team? And that's the transition that I think we're going through this year. And we'll continue to go through it probably for a long time. But it's something that, teams are going to have to deal with.
Yeah. Well, it'll be really exciting to see how it turns out this weekend when you guys travel to Detroit to play in, like it says up there, one of the oldest rivalries in the FCS going back to the Midwest days. So really excited, and we'll see no roster leaks tonight, but we'll know who the rosters are soon enough and see who's out there. Good call out. Ethan Castaneda is another player that's been playing amazing for sure. But yeah, it is interesting, when you look at just like you talk about background analytics guy, right? When you just look at the data, right? It's like home games looked amazing, really good, going. Away games, not so much, So this is an opportunity. That's in my head. It's like, okay, here we go. Here's another test for both of these teams, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so confirming the stat, 24 saves for Emerson in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, he is definitely one of those players. Yeah. Yep. He can swing games. I think that's a really good way to put it. In my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the league. Awesome. Any other thoughts on this one?
Tune in.
Yeah, and if Pierce Brannigan's in the chat, Matt says he wants to beat you. Pierce likes to jump on sometimes, so that's pretty fun. Okay, let's go on to our last one. So this is another interesting one, Midwest United Chicago House. So first of all, you might be like, wow, why is this interesting? Midwest won 12-2 the first time they played. Yes, but I think it's interesting because for Chicago House of what they showed last weekend in their victory against you guys is, to me, it was like the beginnings of better. And, you talk about like who is, what you have at that day, that's your team. But there's definitely a Lansing City team that we saw that was playing at a different level than what we saw last weekend, right? So we know that was the case, but they got their first win, so they're at 1-5. And now it's like, okay, they get a chance to go back and play the first team that, didn't cause all this, but started it, right? The first team that sent them tumbling down to the 0-5 record. They get to play them again. They're at, Midwest is going to be at home, so they're probably going to be full strength. They're going to have their fans. So it's like if you make noise in this one, even if it's not a win or a draw, but if you make noise in it and it's much more competitive than 12-2, then it's like this is, I think, your opportunity to shift. If you're Chicago House, like this is the one, because you don't really want to go more. Like once you start going into more than 5 losses, this is going to be really tough to get into playoff contention, I think. So it's like, okay, if you want to have that still be alive, if you want to show that, these pieces that we saw last weekend, the new players that did well, the defensive changes that were better, Ishmael Gomez was just like a crazy man in the best way, like just in the best way. And Rafael Hernandez was not there yet, so him coming back, not in this one, but in a later date. To me, I think this is like the story of this game. Is I think it's an opportunity for Chicago to be like, we can do something. And if they do it in this one, I think it says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that, before last weekend, it's like, okay, well, yeah, this is a game. But now it's like, okay, so Midwest has a chance to really seal a playoff spot. I don't know the exact numbers, but
let me check the standings.
I think based on what I'm seeing, because Chicago has 1 win, Midwest has 3 or 4. Do they have 4 yet, or they just have
no?
3?
They actually have only played 4 games. They're 1-2-1.
So so this is a big game for Midwest too.
That's true. Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
But they've played. So their draw is Shoreline.
Okay.
Their losses are UNLA.
Okay.
So like they've
gone through a tough piece of their schedule.
Right, and their win is Chicago. So like they haven't faced Innovation yet. They haven't faced Jenga yet. So there's. They like you said, they have gone through a tough piece of their schedule, right? And only 4 games played.
Yeah, but Chicago, they're 6 games in. This is game number 7.
Yeah.
It's like you need to win this game. But also, like you're saying, it's like it's one thing to come out and win a game. It's another thing to go, okay, now we got to go do it again.
Yeah.
And again and again. And that's where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We play Chicago House again here in 2 weeks from Saturday. I don't know if they have a game in between, but if they come here, 2 games in a row, it makes that game really interesting.
Yeah.
So, but Midwest, they have a history in the league. They've made back-to-back championship games. They're not going to just roll over.
No, this is a good team. I mean, Jose Vicario, very good in net.
Oh yeah.
Fikret Hasovic is one of the best pivots in the league. Anthony Leone is like, it's just like he's just always in the place he needs to be. Like he works so hard. You could tell. This team is good, even though they're at 1-2-1. This team is good, and they still are good. They still are, a team that can go to the playoffs and make a run. Like you said, 2-time championship back-to-back, and they've lost both of those, by the way, and they don't want to do it again. You know what I mean? Like this is part of what they're coming into is like we've done this twice in a row and we've come up short, and it's like, that's got to fuel you some.
Yeah, and so I think the idea, okay, Chicago House, maybe they have it all back together. Now they're going to go play this game. They'll get on a roll, all that. It's like Midwest is not like, hey, I don't like that storyline. This is not what the story is going to be. So it's like, Midwest has, how do they handle that?
Yeah.
Because it's like Chicago House, they're going to come out in that game strong. They're not going to come out and roll over. Because they're coming with 1 win. Hey, we're fighting for a playoff spot. They're going to come out fire.
Yeah.
And it's like Midwest is here, probably feeling better, like they're better than their record says.
Yeah.
And they have something to say, hey, we are not 1-2-1.
Yeah.
We are not this 1-2-1 team that, we think we're better than that. And so they're going to come out and show it. So I think it'll be a really competitive game. I could see one of the teams taking a big lead at the beginning and the other one trying to fight their way back in. That's actually what, I'll say. I think that's what's going to happen. I think one of the teams goes up by about 4 goals in the first 12, 13 minutes, and then the other team claws back, and the game ends. Let's go Midwest United 7-5.
7-5.
Mm-hmm.
There's the prediction, 7-5. Comments in the chat looks like, Vinny had a good showing too. I did think in the last game, Vinny De Silva looked better. I thought his defensive effort particularly was better. Vicario in the pipe is going to be a challenge for Chicago to score. Yeah, Vicario is a really great keeper. I mean, you guys have played against him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's an excellent goalkeeper. There's a lot of great goalkeepers in this league, by the way. We talk about goalkeepers as like, this guy's really good. Hey, this guy's really good too. Here's another thing that's really interesting about Midwest United. Talk about they've had a challenging portion of their schedule already. If they did wind up losing this game, that would put them at 1-3-1. They play Innovation next, but then they have Olay right after that. So theoretically, they could be, if those games go how those games have gone in the past or what the records have shown, they would, if they lost this game, they would be 2-4-1 come February 15th when they play Detroit Imperial.
When did they play? Did they play Jinga left?
And then they play Shoreline and Jinga after that. So they wrap up the year with Detroit, Shoreline, and Jinga, which could be like, depending on how things go, there could be, because only 2 teams don't make the playoffs, they could be in and they could be playing for seeding. But if they lose this game here, then it's like, it's very likely they're going to start that 3-game stretch with, I think, what it would be, 2-4-1?
Yeah.
And that's, you win the last few games, then you're 5-4-1. But it's like those last few games become really, really important. So, that would be interesting. Yeah, shocking that Midwest is 6. That's kind of what I was referring to here. And I think the strength of the schedule is part of that and like who they've played because they've only had 4 games. So only 4 opportunities for points. One of them was a tie. 2 were losses to 2 teams that were looking like the best in the league, and then they blew out Chicago. So interesting on both sides. We'll see how it goes. I will admit that the last couple of weeks, there's been several games that have been like, this could be a blowout, or it could be close, and most of them have been blowouts. So hopefully this weekend we get more close ones. We've seen a little bit of that, but that's Saturday 8 p.m. the doubleheader. Don't miss it. It's another one of those because there's 2 at 8 p.m. You got to have 2 screens, and you have to work on your independent eyeball skills to be able to see both at the same time. But use 2 different accounts, so then that way we can have 2 viewers. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter. So that's the games this weekend, 1 at 5 and then 2 at 8 p.m. Exciting weekend. Coach Matt Al-Ashari of Lansing City, thanks for joining the show tonight. Really appreciate you and you jumping in and sharing and saying, hey, we're going to do this thing. This is great. So thanks for so much, everyone, for tuning in to the show tonight. We'll see you guys on Saturday for the FCS games this weekend. Good night. We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's shielding off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, Hasevic is pulling at him, just prevent any.
Committing a crime so you can try to escape from prison. Bad idea. Going to the pod escape room to play an escape game with your friends. Great idea. Test your skill as an astronaut in outer space. Find Santa in Save Christmas. Or take a vacation to an abandoned island. Just don't get stuck there. The Pod Escape Room. Learn more at thepodlansing.com.
Mackenzie plays it in. Gets it right back to Ramsey Terminini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Terminini from the circle.
And just like that, Jinga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, 2 teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drive.